What if the most powerful man in the world didn't come from the military, didn't rise through decades of political experience, and didn't follow the traditional path to power at all? What if he came from television, real estate deals, bold speeches, and a brand that millions of people already recognized? In 2016, something happened that shocked political experts, journalists, and governments across the planet. A man who had never held public office defeated some of the most experienced politicians in the United States and became the leader of the world's most powerful country. That man was Donald Trump. But the real story is not just about winning an election. It is about how a businessman from New York turned his name into a global brand, mastered media attention, connected with millions of voters who felt ignored, and eventually reached the most powerful office on earth, the President of the United States. To understand how Donald Trump became one of the most powerful men in the world, we have to go back long before politics, back to New York City, back to a family business, and back to a young man who believed his name could one day become famous across the globe. The beginning, a family built on real estate. Donald Trump was born in Queens, New York in 1946. His father, Fred Trump, was already a successful real estate developer. Fred Trump built and managed thousands of apartments in New York City, mostly for middle-class families. Growing up in this environment meant Donald Trump learned about money, construction, negotiation, and risk from an early age. But his father also believed in discipline. As a teenager, Donald Trump was sent to the New York Military Academy. There he experienced a strict environment filled with rules, hierarchy, and competition. Those years shaped his personality. Trump became competitive, confident, and determined to stand out. Even then, he liked attention, and he liked winning. Learning the business of power. After graduating from the University of Pennsylvania in 1968, Donald Trump joined his father's real estate company. At the time, the company mostly focused on housing projects in Brooklyn and Queens. But Donald Trump had bigger ambitions. He wanted Manhattan. Manhattan was the center of power, wealth, and global influence in New York. The skyline itself represented success, and Trump wanted his name on those buildings. In the 1970s and 1980s, Donald Trump began making bold real estate deals. He renovated hotels, built luxury apartments, and developed office towers. One of his most famous projects was Trump Tower, completed in 1983. The tower became more than just a building. It became a symbol of the Trump brand. Gold interiors, luxury shops, and high-profile residents made Trump Tower one of the most recognizable buildings in New York. And for Donald Trump, the building served another purpose. It turned his name into a brand, becoming a celebrity businessman. By the late 1980s and 1990s, Donald Trump was no longer just a businessman. He had become a celebrity. Magazines featured him. Television shows invited him. Newspapers followed his deals and personal life. Even his setbacks made headlines. Trump's businesses experienced major financial struggles in the early 1990s, including casino bankruptcies. Many experts believed his career was over. But Donald Trump had a talent for something extremely important in modern power: controlling the narrative. Instead of disappearing from the public eye, he doubled down on publicity. He wrote books, he gave interviews, and he continued to promote the Trump brand. This ability to stay relevant in the media would later become one of his greatest political strengths. The television turning point. In 2004, Donald Trump entered millions of American homes through a reality television show. The show was called The Apprentice. In the program, contestants competed in business challenges, and Trump decided who stayed and who was fired.
His famous phrase, "You're fired," became one of the most recognizable lines in television. The show was a massive success. For many Americans, this was their first strong impression of Donald Trump. They saw him as a decisive leader, a powerful businessman, someone who made tough decisions. In reality, the show was entertainment, but it helped shape Trump's public image as a strong executive. And in politics, image matters, sometimes more than experience. The political environment changes. By the early 2010s, the political climate in the United States was changing. Many Americans felt frustrated. They believed political leaders in Washington were disconnected from ordinary people. Economic anxiety after the 2008 financial crisis still lingered. Globalization had transformed industries. Jobs moved overseas, and trust in traditional politicians was declining. This environment created an opportunity. A candidate who could speak directly to frustrated voters had a chance to gain massive support. Donald Trump saw that opportunity. The 2016 campaign that shocked the world. In June 2015, Donald Trump announced he would run for president as a Republican. Many analysts initially dismissed the campaign. They believed an outsider with no political experience could never win the presidency. But Trump's strategy was different. Instead of traditional political speeches, he used bold language, strong opinions, and constant media appearances. He spoke about immigration, trade deals, economic nationalism, and American identity. His campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," became one of the most recognizable political messages in modern history. Donald Trump also mastered social media. Platforms like Twitter allowed him to communicate directly with millions of supporters without relying on traditional media. Every tweet became news. Every rally generated headlines. Slowly, something unexpected began to happen. Crowds grew larger, poll numbers increased, and the businessman from New York began defeating experienced politicians in the Republican primaries, defeating political giants. During the 2016 Republican primary, Trump faced a long list of well-known politicians, governors, senators, policy experts. Many had spent decades preparing for a presidential run, yet one by one they were defeated. Trump's supporters admired his direct style. They believed he spoke honestly about problems they cared about. By mid-2016, Trump had secured the Republican nomination. His opponent in the general election would be Hillary Clinton. Clinton was one of the most experienced candidates in modern American history. She had served as Secretary of State, Senator, and First Lady. Most political experts predicted she would win easily. But elections are not decided by experts. They are decided by voters. Election Night 2016. On November 8, 2016, millions of Americans went to the polls. As the results came in, something extraordinary began to unfold. State after state that analysts expected to vote for Clinton shifted towards Trump. Key states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin changed the political map. When the final results were counted, Donald Trump had won the presidency. He became the 45th President of the United States. It was one of the most surprising political victories in modern history. Suddenly, the businessman who once hosted a reality television show now controlled the executive branch of the world's most powerful nation. The power of the presidency. The President of the United States leads the federal government, commands the military, and influences global politics. This means Donald Trump now had authority over the White House, the American economy, the world's most powerful military, international diplomacy. Every decision made by the president could impact millions, sometimes billions of people around the world. That is why the presidency is often considered the most powerful political position on earth.
A presidency unlike any other. Donald Trump governed in a way that often broke traditional political norms. He communicated directly with the public through social media. He challenged global trade agreements. He held massive political rallies even while in office. Supporters praised his willingness to challenge established institutions. Critics argued his approach was too confrontational. But regardless of opinion, one fact remained undeniable. Donald Trump dominated global headlines throughout his presidency. Every policy announcement, every diplomatic meeting, every tweet, the world was watching. The global influence of Donald Trump. During his presidency, Trump's decisions influenced international politics in major ways. Trade negotiations changed. Diplomatic relationships shifted. Economic policies affected global markets. World leaders frequently reacted to statements from the White House. This level of influence is why the President of the United States is often described as the most powerful person in the world, and Donald Trump held that position. The political comeback. After the 2020 election, many people believed Donald Trump's political career might be over. But Trump remained a powerful figure in American politics. He continued holding rallies. He maintained strong support among millions of voters, and his influence within the Republican Party remained significant. Eventually, he launched another presidential campaign. In a remarkable political comeback, Trump returned to the presidency after winning the 2024 United States presidential election. This made him one of the rare leaders in American history to return to power after leaving office. The real reason Trump became so powerful. Donald Trump's rise was not based on a single factor. It was the result of several powerful forces coming together at the same time. Business success created wealth. Media exposure created fame. Television created a powerful public image. Social media created a direct connection with supporters, and political frustration created an opportunity for an outsider candidate. Trump understood something many politicians did not. Modern power is not only about government experience, it is also about influence, attention, narrative, and the ability to connect emotionally with millions of people. The legacy of a political disruptor. Whether admired or criticized, Donald Trump changed modern politics. He demonstrated that outsiders could challenge established political systems. He showed how media, branding, and social platforms could transform political campaigns. And he proved that traditional political experience was no longer the only path to power. His rise reshaped American politics and influenced political movements around the world. Final thought. From a real estate developer in New York, to a global celebrity, to the host of a hit television show, to the President of the United States, the story of Donald Trump is one of the most unusual journeys to power in modern history. It is a story about ambition, media mastery, political disruption, and the unpredictable nature of democracy. Because sometimes the most powerful person in the world is the one nobody expected to win.